Today I'm going to show you how to anchor a post base to concrete. In this instance I'm using a sonotube footing, and right here I had a complete and total failure. You can see my holes, they're all messed up and they don't really line up. I had one good hole and then the rest of them were off. So first thing I would recommend, use something like a patio paver. You can get them from people on Facebook for free. They're trying to get rid of them. Use something like this to practice, because if you've already poured your footing, you don't want to mess up on that. So in this instance I'm using wedge anchors that are going to be used to anchor the post down. The wedge anchors that I got were actually too small. These are 2 3/4 inch long wedge anchors, but they require 2 1/4 inch of embedment, so you don't end up with very much sticking out of the concrete, and it's not really enough to get a washer and a nut on and go through that bracket. So I'll be ordering longer ones of these. These are hot dip galvanized. I would recommend you use those on anything that's being used outside. They'll last much longer. So the brackets I bought, they were from Amazon. The hole diameters were slightly under 1/2 of an inch, so I ended up using a step drill bit to make sure that the holes were wide enough. You can see this one is actually drilled out enough. That's one that I have not done yet. So the problems with drilling the anchors here is that the drill bits like to wander. They're probably fine if you need to do something like loosely, have a hole somewhere that doesn't really require a lot of accuracy. So let's say I was trying to anchor this board down, and it doesn't necessarily matter exactly where it's at. If I'm off by 1/4 or 1/2 inch, who cares? I can just, make the hole in here big enough to adjust for that. Well, with these brackets you don't have a lot of tolerance, so I tried freehanding it, just putting the drill bit in and going down. I got one correct, and then the next one was off. I had tried just going along the side of this, but there's nothing really keeping the drill bit from wandering side to side. So unless you're really really good at keeping that drill bit straight, you're gonna have a hard time. I tried using a pilot bit, so this is a 3/16 inch bit. Tried using that to start a hole and then drill using a 1/2 inch, and these bits do not like to follow a pilot hole. So that left me with this option that worked, which was to take a block of wood the same width as your holes, a little wider actually, and then clamp that in place. So I just used some quick clamps, clamped it down very tight. I bought a 12 inch bit, which allowed me room to get past the clamps and mark the holes out. So after I'd made the bracket holes wide enough to fit the drill bit, I just used the SDS drill in drill mode and was able to mark out where the holes would be. This is not going to drill through the wood. The masonry bits are not meant for that, but it will leave you marks in the wood, and you can take the bracket off, undo the clamps, take this to a drill press if you have one, and use that to drill the holes. The drill bit will find the indentation pretty well, and it will match up. So get all those holes drilled, and now what you can do is, on a post that you haven't messed up, center that over the holes that you have and come in with your SDS, put a hand on it, put a knee on it, hold the board in place, drill these two, and then if you have enough room, switch to the other side. I found though that it might walk on you, so you can use just a 1/2 inch bolt and put like a 1/2 inch bolt down through these two holes and use them as anchor pins to lock it in place. Get a knee on it again, and then drill through the other two. Again, I would recommend you practice on something like one of these that's much cheaper and doesn't really matter if you mess it up. And if all goes well, you'll have holes that end up looking like this. See, everything's square and lined up. So that's what I found to be the best way to make square holes in your concrete. Good luck.